Hey everybody, and welcome to Q&A Wednesday, where I answer the questions that you have about your health and fitness goals. And today's kind of an extension of last week's topic, which was, isn't every diet really healthy? Does it make a difference which diet I do? Now we're going to talk about how long you should diet for. So if that's something that you've asked yourself, how long is it going to take to hit your goal, those kind of things, I'm going to put a different perspective to it, because of course I always have a it depends kind of a deal, and we are going to talk about that tonight. So hopefully you are having an incredible month. I just barely read something about where we're possibly going to get another snowmageddon. I am moving to somewhere warm. That's all I have to say. I'm just tired of the weather. Okay, I got to fix this just real quick. So let's talk a little bit about what kind of diet time is appropriate for you. So all I have is one question for you on that one. How long do you want the results to last, right? Because of course we all think that it's going to be this temporary thing I'm going to do for a little bit, right? Because I set a New Year's resolution. So I'm just going to do it for 3 months, and then I'm going to be done with it, and then I'm going to go back to the same stuff I was doing before. Well, do you really want to go backwards and lose everything that you accomplished during your quote unquote diet? Most people don't. So while I do believe that there's a time and a place to do maybe a short-term diet, rarely is that the case. Most of us don't want to go back to where we started. There was a whole reason we set the goal in the first place. So we want to make sure that we are doing, because you think about it, whatever it takes to get there, you have to keep doing to stay there, right? I mean, it has to. I know I preach lifestyle all the time, but there's a purpose behind that. If you are having to diet super hard to get to where you want to go, first of all, you're going to ruin your metabolism, but then you're going to put it all back on so quickly. And that's where we come up with yo-yo diets and all these issues. So really it comes down to lifestyle. Like, unfortunately, the word diet has gotten a really negative connotation, right? Because when we think diet, we think sacrifice, we think super low calories and eating a bunch of food that we don't enjoy. I mean, how is that even a great lifestyle? It's not. There's a way to do it without being miserable. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. But when it comes to how long you should diet for, it really depends on whether or not you're trying to keep that goal, right? So I would say, instead of calling it diet, because again, it just really doesn't have a good concept to it for the most part, I would say you need to work on your nutrition and your lifestyle. Now, I'm the first to tell you that you can spend hours and hours and hours in the gym, and if you don't work with your nutrition, you are not going to get where you want to go, because it really, nutrition determines size, exercise determines shape. So, you can never out-exercise a bad diet. Now, you might have got away with it when you were younger because of genetics and because you had a higher metabolism. But let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when you hit about 30, 35, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. So you got to pay attention, even if you're young, and even if you feel like, well, I can get away with eating pizza because, look, I have no problem. Yeah, we've all heard about the person who was super skinny and looked kind of healthy, looked pretty healthy, and they up and had a heart attack and died. So again, just because they're not showing it on the outside in the form of fat or obesity, absolutely does not mean that they're healthy on the inside. So, there's a lot that goes in complex within our bodies. And sometimes it appears that the unhealthiness appears in ways that we wouldn't normally think. Think things like eczema and psoriasis, which is those are skin conditions. That's usually a sign of inflammation within the body because you're eating products that don't work for your body. So if that's something that you're dealing with, instead of just taking the pill, the medication that your doctor gives you, fix your nutrition. It's your body's way of telling you something is not right, and you have to approach the problem, not just the symptom, in order to solve it. So I yell at the TV all the time when I see these stupid pharmaceutical commercials, because it just makes me angry. It's like, now you're just creating pills for people who don't have any other issues. You're trying to create some things. So, let's work on the things the right way and do it the right way. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the lifestyle or lifetime versus a short-term goal. Now, there's a time and a place if you're trying to get ready to go on a vacation and you want to tighten up a little bit. Like, I get it, I do that kind of thing all the time because it depends on what my goals are at the moment. Sometimes I need a break and I just need to. I still eat super clean, but I'm not nearly as focused when it comes to counting my macros and being right dead on, because you can't live like that your whole life. Like, you can't, I'm going to measure every meal for the rest of my life. Like, that's just, doesn't work. But there's a time and a place for that. So, if you're getting ready to go on a vacation, or if you're going to participate in a wedding, or I get it, there are some things that you can do as long as you do it in a way that doesn't undermine your health. And that's a big part of it. People do some really incredibly drastic things in order to get where they want to go. And meanwhile, they destroy their metabolism. They create some health issues. That is really not the way to go. You shouldn't do it in a way that really causes some issues that you're going to have to deal with later on in life. And most of us, again, that happens in our 20s-ish, or even in our teens, when we think, well, I can live forever. I'm not going to have a problem. I'm indestructible. And then you hit 30, 35, 40, and all of a sudden you're having all these issues from things that you did a couple decades ago. But nobody teaches that. So that can be a problem. So the difference between a lifestyle and short-term is that a lifestyle, and I think it's really important that before you set short-term goals, and diet for that, you really need to have an understanding of how nutrition works, how biology works, and how to do it in a lifestyle fashion, so that even if you do have a short-term goal and you need to adjust momentarily, that you're not creating issues because you don't know. I can do anything temporarily. Most of us can, but we don't want to, when we're finished, be so far behind, like I said, when it comes to health, that now you're having to, or maybe you can't even adjust now. You can't fix what you did. So keep that in mind, that it really is about what you can do for the long term. So I don't really enjoy supporting people when it comes to short-term diets. Now, I do coach competitors to stage. I get that. There's a process for that. And of course, we try to do that in the most healthy way possible, if you can call it that, where we don't do metabolic damage while we're at it. And then, of course, we reverse to make sure that we bring them back up to a normal, healthy weight and body fat percentage. So I get it, but I'm coming from a background having been super unhealthy at some point myself, for several decades actually, to really understanding how the body works. And it helps, honestly, it helps me make decisions every day, because I know, I might have that piece of chocolate, but now if I start to eat a bunch of garbage more, for multiple meals, more than one day, my body really reacts in a really bad way. So, I don't like feeling like that. And I think that until you understand how that feels and what's going on in your system, it's hard to know. So the downside to diets, really the biggest one, is most of us that have tried it, we've done some yo-yo dieting, and that's probably the one big thing that can really ruin your metabolism, because you really strict, low calorie. Most people think, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to eat 1,200 calories. Well, okay, but your body burns 3,000 calories a day. Your body's like, whoa, I don't know what's going on, and your metabolism slows way down. And when you do that over and over and over again, and your body has no idea what's going on, it wants to protect you, and the way that it does that is to hold on to body fat. So again, you can really create some issues within your system by not doing, if you're going to lose weight or really work to become a leaner person, you have to do it in a way that your body doesn't fight back. And yo-yo diet is probably one of the worst things that you could possibly do for that. We talked about lowering your metabolism, and most of us, over time as we age, our metabolism lowers anyway. Why would you want to contribute to that? There's a lot of research done over, the years of Biggest Loser, where, they were dropping a lot of weight very, very quickly, very, very unhealthy. It's one of those shows that I used to love, and now I know they're coming back out with it, and I can't even watch it because I'm so angry over the first round of stuff that happened. They're going to have to do a lot to prove to me that they're even doing so in a way that's healthy, and yeah, let's just not even go there. But if you look back at all of the participants in those shows, most of them have gained back plus some, and they're really struggling to even make any sort of difference when it comes to being a healthy physical body, because they literally just killed their metabolism through extreme dieting, hours and hours and hours of workouts and physical activity that their body couldn't support. And so now, they're reaping the havoc that created. The other thing that going on a diet can do is really cause some nutrient deficiency. Our body doesn't just run on calories, it runs on fuel and nutrients. It's what helps our bodies do what it needs to do, whether that's to have good eyesight. Maybe it's to create a really healthy microbiome, which is most of our immune system. And if you don't get the nutrients that you need, then you're going to struggle in multiple ways. It's kind of like trying to bake a cake without all of the ingredients in it. It doesn't quite bake right? And that's when you have those days where you're like, well, I just don't feel right. I don't know what's wrong. I'm not really sick, but I just don't feel right. It's probably because you have a deficiency of some sort. And that can appear in a lot of different ways. Some big ones that are pretty normal, unfortunately, are fatigue, even to things like hair loss and issues with skin, diarrhea. I mean, there's a lot of ways. Your body tells you what's wrong. You just have to listen. And then you have to educate yourself on really what's going on. What is this telling me? This is a symptom. What's the problem? Versus, okay, I have this problem. Doctor gave me a pill. Okay, it's taking care of the symptom, but I still don't feel quite right. And that is a big issue that we have today in the United States because our healthcare system is so messed up. So again, the downside to diets are pretty big. You got to know what's going on. You got to be smart about it. And if you're going to diet short term, know how to do that in a way that doesn't, create the issues. So just a couple of thoughts I have on that. When it comes to diets and the way that most of us think of it, why be miserable? Like, I honestly, I've had to do some pretty intense things to get on stage. I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to feel like that anymore because it's rough. It's really difficult. You're, as a woman's body, my body doesn't want to be 5% body fat. It's going to fight me tooth and nail. And I don't want to feel how that feels in order to do that, which is, I wake up every day just struggling to move. Why be miserable? If you're really going to create that kind of a situation in your life, first of all, you have to be prepared for it. But, I don't think that that's what our body was designed for. So while that is a temporary thing, I know how to get through it. I know that I'm going to bounce back from that. It's not something I want to do anymore. So I'm not going to. But when it comes to the average person, their thought of how they're going to be on that diet is, well, I hate everything I'm eating. I don't like cabbage. I don't like whatever it is that they're trying, I've literally known people that have gone on hard-boiled egg diets. That's all they've eaten. Okay, you know what? That's just stupid, guys. I mean, yes, the yolk of the egg is the most nutritious part of it, but again, now you're missing out on all the other vitamins, minerals, and nutrition that other foods provide. You're supposed to eat a variety. So yeah, I just don't find an upside to that. The other thing that I would really recommend is when you're trying to make a difference, stop thinking about what you have to take away. And yes, there's some things you probably should cut out of your nutrition in order to be the best you and be the healthiest you can be. But it's better, at least mentally, and to think about what you can add to your meal plan or your nutrition to help it benefit you, right? It's a big difference instead of saying, well, I can't eat sugar, to saying, you know what, I'm working on that part, but meanwhile, I'm adding all these new vegetables. Now, I know I'm hearing in the background people going, but I don't like vegetables. Honestly, it's because you eat so much junk, your taste buds are ruined from the amazing, sweet, fantastic flavors of vegetables, even fruits. Sometimes I'll have people say, well, I prefer this, protein bar. Okay, fantastic. It's still a processed food, while fruits and vegetables and healthy, clean, unprocessed food, your body's going to absorb it better. You're going to do a better job. Your body was designed to break that down for energy and fuel, not the junk that we get at the grocery store in the middle aisles that are shelf stable. So I know it's probably not the answer you wanted to hear. We could do something a little more detailed about, like, if you're going to do something and if you're going to get on stage, this is how many weeks. That's too hard to talk about here because it really depends on the person. It depends on where they're starting from and what their goal is, what class they're doing, what vacation they're going on, what are they trying to accomplish. But really, my goal is to teach you how to make this a lifestyle, because otherwise you're not going to be able to keep up with it. And that really is the important part is, don't you want to feel good for the rest of your life, not just, on that 5-day vacation? That's just silly to me. So hopefully you got something out of this. You guys share with your friends. I do this just to help kind of change your mind as to, there's so much misinformation and a lot of inconsistencies. Things, you hear one thing and then you hear the exact opposite. Which one's right? I get it. There's so much noise. So I really want you to think about how your body really works, how biology really works. Avoid the bro science. Oh my God. I mean, I work at a gym. Like, I get it. I hear a lot of stuff. I roll my eyes a lot. We're just trying to teach you the right way because we want you to be healthy. We really have to deal with this obesity epidemic. I believe that they said that by the year 2030, 60% of Americans will be overweight or obese, and that is unacceptable. So hopefully you got something great out of this. You guys, I get my very best ideas from you. So if you have a great idea, either leave a comment below. You can message me directly on Facebook Messenger. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment below. I do check these out because I love to hear feedback and what you want to learn. Because if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know, but I'm probably going to go learn it. So it works great for me. Have a great evening, you guys. Until next week, that is Q&A Wednesday. Have a good night.